Hello, today we're going to be going over our Palomino Real-Lite. We're going to be starting right up here in this corner here. Basically, we're going to have our 7-way connection here. It hooks up to the coach. And then this end here will travel along the back side and plug in your 7-way on the back of the tow vehicle. And then there's a little storage area for that guy. This guy here is going to be your battery disconnect. Basically, this disconnects the camper from the battery, so something was left on, it wouldn't drain the battery on you, although you do have the solar panels to help charge the batteries for you as well. Down here is if for some reason that it is completely dead, you can't actually have a spot to hook up a jumper cable, so you can be able to raise and lower the legs if you needed to. Then again, you should also be able to do that from your 7-way. Basically, these guys here are located on each corner of the camper. These guys are pretty much the power connections for our motors for our jacks. Our jacks. Next, we're going to have our water station area. You got your freshwater connection. Basically, with this, it's gravity fed. You stick the hose in and let it fill. Read the monitor panel inside. When it reads full, shut the water off. Waiting for the water to shoot back out of here over time and cause damage both to the outside and on the inside where it's connected. On this side here is going to be our city water connection. With this, it is always recommended that you have a pressure regulator on the water spigot. From there, your options of an inline water filter and then your white or blue water drinking hose. From there, you're going to connect it to this guy here, turn it on, you'll be ready to use the water system. Next, this guy here is going to be our on-demand water heater. You got this switch out here. This switch has to be on for the control panel inside to have power. And then from there, as soon as you turn water on, or the hot water on, it will start flowing through, and it even tells you the temperature on the panel. And then it will start going up to the desired set temperature. We'll talk about that a little more inside. But this switch does have to be on to operate that panel inside. It does have a pressure relief out here as well. As you see, we do have a little bit of water in there. Did a little bit of testing to make sure there was no major issues or anything like that. Next, we have our cable and satellite hookup. You do got your vent for the stove up above here. This guy here is a flap that would open up as soon as you turn the fan on. During travel and storage, it is usually recommended that you would close these flaps. There's actually a little notch area where it would just stick in and lock in. We do also have our 2 outside speakers connected to the radio. I'll show you that inside. We do have a 110 hookup out here as well. This guy here is going to be your 30 amp power cord. Does come with the coach. Here you're going to have your outside shower. Your options of hot and cold water from there. That's going to be this black key right here. And it's got a little guy right here where you turn it on and off to reduce the flow of water. Generally, that is designed for regular style water heaters, but you're on demand, you wouldn't have to worry about shutting that off. Inside here is going to be our propane, 130-pound canister. Tank is full minus what was used to test the propane systems with. These guys here are going to be for whenever you are using your awning. Pretty much it just has arms that will lock into place in here. And we'll show you that here in a little bit. All right, as we come around to the back side, you're going to first have our ladder to the roof. This is mainly for inspections only. The weight limit on this ladder is 250 pounds. Inside this guy here is where your dump handles are located. You got your gray handle for the gray tank, black for the black tank. And I did forget to show you this other one right over here. This one lower underneath here is where you would kind of be able to access to hook up your sewer hose. Your little bumper area does have storage on each side. And that guy there, it says is our 7. Let's see, that should be. That is a 545 key. Basically, that guy's gonna go in there, and you can turn and lock it. When this guy is on the tow vehicle, this actually would flip down and you do have an additional step. Our entry door is going to be our purple key. That compartment over there for the sewer area was going to be your gray key. Basically, you turn with the handle, you turn it to the right, and it locks the door handle itself. For the deadbolt, you have to turn it to the left to engage the deadbolt. On top of that, you can't pull the key out. Generally, if you turn it to the right, you can pull the key out. It kind of shows you didn't lock your deadbolt. And then back in the up-down position to pull the key out when it is in the locked position. My controller's been moved. We'll have to locate that inside. I'll show you guys how we were going to raise this up and down here shortly. Basically on this side, you got another area here underneath. This is so that you can kind of access the back of the truck for, you know, kind of storing a few items if you like. That's also going to be that gray key. Then we got our slide room. Over here you got your exhaust for the furnace. You don't try to block this as best as possible. We do always recommend getting mud dauber screens to put over these. Keeps the mud daubers and wasp out of there. They can cause damage to the furnace over time if they get in there and start building nests and stuff. This guy here is going to be your venting for your refrigerator. It is gas and electric option. There isn't a whole lot you got to do in here except maybe check for mud dauber nests. Basically though, that's usually a maintenance only kind of access area. You do have this little guy right down here. It is set up to where you can install a additional battery outside. This cannot be on though whenever it's in the tow vehicle. All right, we're gonna come back over here over to our entry door area here. So right inside the doorway, you got your fire extinguisher. This guy here is going to be the turn on the power, so that you would be able to. It'll light up there. I don't know if you can see it with our sunlight right now. But that gives us the power where with our remote we're able to lift and lower the unit. Right inside the door right here on this side is going to be your switch for the slide room. Basically press and hold. As you hear, these guys is a Swintech style slide, so this guy operates on two separate independent motors that communicate with each other through a control panel. Basically, and I'm going to show you here in just a second once we get the room out. One thing that you have to know is these gears on here are to never be lubricated. Right here. The reason why is because over time it'll start gumming up those motors and can cause issues. Whenever these start looking nasty, dirty, or dingy, anything like that, they just recommend simple soap and water. Kind of get in there with a mitt, kind of just wipe them down, scrub them down, and then rinse them off with water. That is all they basically recommend on those. All right, let's see if we can't find our controller here real quick. Over here. My apologies. All right, so basically you got this guy here inside the owner's manual, and I'll show you that here in just a moment. There is a red one of these as well, so if something happened and you lost this one, you are able to have a secondary remote. Usually you do have to pair them to the system. The easiest way to try to do that is you got this cable here. It'll plug into the bottom. Then it plugs in right here on our guy, and then it basically usually syncs it right up. But basically, you can control each individual leg, or you can control all of them. And we will step back out here so you can see that. So right now we're going to go ahead and press, and we're going to lift. And basically this is going to be the concept when you go to get on and off the vehicle. You will always have to kind of keep an eye on your jacks though, because they're all on a single kind of a pedestal. So the closest one to the main source of the power coming in usually will operate a little faster, especially when you're going down. I've noticed this leg will have the tendency to kind of go up a little faster than the other one. So you'll look at the other threes on the ground, and that one will kind of be a little off the ground. When that happens, then that's where you just go to that single side and make that adjustment so it's at least touching the ground again, because you want to try to make sure you have a good solid contact point all the way around. Okay? But basically there is Velcro. This guy actually will just stick right there. So it's right there whenever you open the door. Alright. When we step inside, let's see here, our living room lights. So my cleaner likes to push buttons, so she turned all our lights off. Basically, our lights are controlled through our control panel here where it says living room lights. Pretty much with the control panel, you have your water pump. You're only going to use the water pump if you are, excuse me, are using the fresh water tank. Then you got your tank heater or little heating pads on the tanks to keep them warm if you're camping out in colder temperatures. The living room lights. You got your porch light, which has a motion sensor light on it. So it will pop on and off on you when it senses motion. But then you got awning light 1 and awning light 2. Basically, that's going to be your awning for over the back and on the side. And then basically our lower controls down here is going to be for awning 1 and 2. It sounds like that one there is going to be our front one here.
So awning 1 is the one out the...
Right out on the back side.
Okay.
And then awning 2 is going to be the one for the side.
And then to go back to what he was saying, if these living room lights don't come on when you push the switch, it means someone went through and turned them off at the button. So just go through and flip the buttons on, and then you'll be able to use the switch.
Because these guys should all be controlled from that switch.
And there. I'm saying that because my husband is really tall and he would turn all the switches off, or all the buttons off, and then I couldn't use the switch.
Okay, so with our awning, once you have your awning out, these are the arms I was kind of talking about here. These guys can be a little tricky to play with. And of course, I ain't super tall, but basically you're gonna slide it out like so. This will come around. This twists to lock in, but then this piece here will just slide. Oh, it's already there. It goes into the bottom, slide up top, and then you push it down to lock it in place. And then from there, you're able to do adjustments on here as well, which that's basically all the way extended, it looks like. Oh, no, we got one right here. So you can extend it out. There it is. Basically just like so. Will lock right into place there. It keeps it held in place. And basically the one on the side is going to be the same exact concept. Alright, well that's coming in. Up here is going to be our pretty much our tank statuses and battery. That's the first one I'll show you is your battery. Then you got the fresh tank, the black tank, and gray tank. The tanks on this are not very large at all. I believe they are only about 5 gallons. Honestly, the salesman would have that better knowledge on those. We just fill them and test them, and we don't have like the exact number that we use when we're filling water tanks. Down below is going to be the furnace. Basically, all you do is you'll turn it, you turn it on. Then when you go to turn it off, it'll go all the way over here, and then there's a click, and that puts it in that off position. This here is going to be that Monitor for the on-demand water heater. That switch was off, so right now it does not have no power. So if I try to push anything, it's not going to do so. Oh, careful. Basically though, you adjust your temperature up and down. This is just the change from Celsius and Fahrenheit, and then this is to turn it on and off from inside. When you go to turn on the hot water, it'll show the fan start blowing, moving first on here, and then it'll show a flame icon, and then it'll show like a shower head shooting water out. Basically, that's telling you that it's got that water pumping and flowing. Down here is going to be our carbon monoxide and LP detector and carbon monoxide detector. Basically, you just push this button to test. And that's all there really is. It's recommended that you do this every 9 to 14 days. Then also right here. Oh, this one's got the other setting as well. Then here is going to be our fuse control panel box. Basically anything that requires a sure power to operate is going to be on the breakers, and they do have everything labeled for you. And then everything that runs off the batteries is going to be on the fuses, and right here they have them all labeled for you as well. All right. You got your space here where you can actually pull these out, and it could be the closet or the pantry area. These are adjustable shelving. You got your drawers down below. You got your microwave. With the microwave, I always like to recommend setting the time. If you go out, you come back, you see the time isn't set, that means there was a power failure. You need to find out if it was from the campsite or the electric company. That's pretty important. Next, you got your hood range. Basically, you got your light and your fan. This guy here flips up for the stove. Basically, you're just going to turn it to that light icon and then turn the light. This guy over here is going to be the spark igniter for all these guys, and the oven. With the oven though, they got it labeled on the knob, and it's a little harder to see, but it'll say pilot. You're going to push and hold it in and then turn till it lights. And if you set the glass up right, you can usually see the spark, and then you'll see the pilot when it's lit. But generally it gets lit back here in the back through that spark igniter. When you usually first go turn on the propane, it will usually take a few minutes for that to actually get going and light. All right, inside here, as you see, is going to be the water pump and filter access area. Basically right inside here is where our water pump is. There isn't really nothing you would have to do here. Basically, all that's going to be done right underneath this guy right here. So inside here, this is where we're going to have both of our batteries are located. There, right here is going to be when you go to winterize your coach, and it's got a valve handle right here that you would turn when you're going to use the pump. So basically now it's going to pull from the fresh water tank if you go to use the fresh water tank. The water tank is located down below underneath here, pretty much right in this area here. I believe this guy looks like he may be roughly about a 20-gallon tank, I would say. Whenever you go to drain that guy, that is going to be located right down here at this bottom one. Right now it is in the open position because, you know, we do fill the tank, test the tanks, test the pump. You know, we do all that part of our PDI. So right now it's open, drain basically that water out. Basically, one thing to note though is that it will, if it's in the truck bed and you go to drain it, it is going to drain into the truck bed. Well, we're also down here. This guy right here is your solar panel controller. Basically, this just monitors the batteries. Once they get below a certain level, it'll allow the charge from the panel to come through and charge the batteries for you if you're not plugged into Sure Power. Then you got your GFCI outlet down here. So if some outlets ain't working, they're GFCI protected. Come check and see if this guy hasn't been tripped. All right. All right, so basically, I'm just going to stay down here while we try to discuss everything up there. Basically, what we got going on is you got some cabinets, closet space up there. You do have storage on each side. Each side also has 110 and USB hookups. They each have their individual nighttime reader lights as well. That over there is going to be your fire exit window. So if for some reason there was a fire, you couldn't get to the entry door, there's still a way to get out of the coach. Up above is going to be our exhaust fan. Basically, it's got 4 settings. When you first turn it on in setting 1, it does actually take a minute before the fan will start rotating. I see it, yeah, it's usually a common problem that customers see. They think there's something wrong with the fan because it doesn't immediately kick on right away when it's in the other speeds. It's a lower gear. It's got to get amped up. Then over here we're going to have our TV and the radio / DVD player. Got your power to turn that guy on. And I believe when the tech did the PDI, he picked up roughly, I believe it was 38 channels on this. Basically, whenever you get to a new area, you're going to scan for channels. To do so, you would press the menu button. I normally just push the arrow key back one time. It'll take us right here where it says channel. From there, you're going to choose air, or if you're hooked to campground cable. If you're hooked to campground cable, you do have to turn off the TV antenna booster. I'm going to show you that in just a second. But basically, in air, you're going to go down to auto scan, and it will ask, are you sure? You hit over yes, and it'll start scanning channels and pick up the channels that are available in the area. All right. So, back behind here is where your TV antenna booster is located. That little red dot there, so that tells us that the booster is on. And when you got the campground that provides the cable for you, what you're going to do is you're going to turn that off. You'll hook it up at the campground or at the cable connection outside, and then go through the scanning of channels. Up above is pretty much as you see. It's actually powered through a 12 volt, so you are able to watch this without 110. And it does have 2 USB charging hookups as well. It does have your auxiliary cables here, so you can tie in from here to the TV, and that's tied into the back of the radio. Those wires are located inside our bag. Then next you got your remote. Basically, I like to usually just mainly use the remote if you're watching a DVD, but you are able to turn it on, change radio stations, control the volume, things along that nature. So you have 2 zones. Zone 1 is these inside speakers, and that's right there. Zone 2 are those outside speakers. You can have them both on at the same time if you wanted to. I do like to recommend, though, if you are watching a movie, make sure you turn off Zone 2 so they are not listening to the movie with you. All right, over here is going to be our refrigerator. Right now, I have it set in auto. So in auto, it's always looking for 110. So if it unplugged, it would automatically switch to propane as long as the propane canister is on. And if there's propane in the canister. You can run it on just gas by pushing this button here. It'll be on just gas. It'll try to fire 3 times on propane. If it does not, then this check light would pop on. I just always like to leave it in auto, so then that way it's always looking for that 110. And then you got your power to turn it on and off right there as well. Inside here, you're able to adjust the temperature on this guy, and it even tells you right here, moving it up makes it colder in here, moving it down will make it warmer. And these are just little extra parts they like to send with the unit here. I see why the other tech didn't take it off. And I just spilled them all over the place. These guys do have Pretty much these guys pieces here. What these are designed to do is sit inside the door like so, and then it keeps the door propped whenever you're storing the camper, so like mildew or mold would not form inside here. I'll have to clean that back up in just a minute. We got our recliners here. Basically, you pull the handles on each end to recline. And then we got our little tables here as well. These guys do pop out as well. Then inside here is going to be our luxurious bathroom. I like to call this our, I like to call it the 3S bathroom, because basically you can, well, shave, shower, and you know the other S.
All at the same time.
Basically all at the same time. With your toilet, you got the pedestal down here. You lightly press on the pedestal to add liquid so you can do your business. All the way is going to flush. They do provide a 110 outlet out here that is GFCI protected, but you do have this that you have to cover this when you are showering. You just pull this guy out here. Pretty much you got your pan down there. Pull that guy out of there unless you're trying to soak your feet. But basically you pull this out and then you take a shower. This is just a nice little extra step for whenever you're using the toilet. Inside here is basically so you could access plumbing and things along that nature. You have a little bit of storage right here in the front for like your TP if you wanted to. With the shower part here is once you turn your water on, you basically will get it to temp, and then you pull this up and it will engage the shower head. As soon as you turn the knobs off, it'll automatically drop down and basically sets it right back to the faucet end. And then from there, we have made our way around the coach. Trying to do a quick double check, make sure I didn't forget to show you anything. All right, hopefully this was knowledgeable and informational for you. If you guys do have any questions, please feel free to call us and we'll do our best for you to answer them over the phone. Thank you and have a wonderful day.